This week we're going to be doing caramel apples. I think caramel apples are one of the best treats you can have at this holiday or at this Halloween or autumn season. I guess it's a holiday too. Anyway, this is a very simple recipe. Honestly, if I was really going to do it, I would, make the caramel myself because it tastes better. But not saying this doesn't taste good. This is the simple one. So basically what you're going to need is caramels, the kind you can buy like this. And you're going to need about probably 2 bags of these. These are about 11 ounces. You need about 16 ounces, so, whatever works. But the thing that's going to take you the longest is peeling each single one of these caramels, so you got to unwrap each one of them. So that takes a little bit of time. You're going to need some heavy cream, and you're going to need about 3 tablespoons of it. And then you're going to need apples, of course. I think Granny Smith apples work the best because they're so tart, and it really offsets the caramel and kind of makes it a really great sweet and tart combination. And of course, you're going to need some kind of popsicle stick or, skewers of some sort. Maybe the bamboo skewers, those will work. So then you're going to stick them all in to your apples. I've got about 6 of them. This recipe says 8. I've got 6, and I've got a few in reserve if I need them, but I really don't want that many. I'd rather have just 6 for my family. So anyway, I've got the caramels, you can see, in the pan, ready to go. I'm going to turn that on. I think it's a lower heat. Check that out, make sure so I get that right. Yes, a low heat because you don't want it to burn. Most sugary candy things will burn easily. So, and then you're going to take your cream. You're going to measure out 3 tablespoons, and you're going to put those in with it. 3. Okay, and then you're just basically going to let it melt. And you want to keep stirring it because you want it to get nice and smooth. And once it's smooth and hot and all that, we'll be ready to dip the apples. So it's going to start out looking like this, which is not very attractive, and looks like it's probably never going to do what you want it to do. Can't quite get the thing right there. There we go. So, it just kind of sits there and it looks funny, but it is starting to melt a little on it. I can feel it kind of sticking to the bottom of the pan. So, and I use a really big pan because I feel like, if I'm going to dip something in there, I want it to be good size so I have a lot of room to do that. Also, I think a heavier, bigger pan is good for when you're boiling up any kind of candy. Not probably so much in this one, but a lot of times if you're making candy or you're making homemade caramel, which is really yummy, it does boil up. So if you've ever done any kind of candy or fudge even, you know that it boils up in the pan and it expands quite a bit. So you want to be ready for that. This is going to take a bit, but also wanted to let you know that the other thing you can do when you're done, once you've dipped your apples in the caramel, this recipe suggests all sorts of little toppings and stuff to put on it. You could, wrap or sprinkle it with sprinkles, ice cream sprinkles. Crushed up nuts would be really good. I think walnuts would be super delicious. And there's lots of other choices too. Okay, so things are moving right along. It's melting up nicely. I'll give you a little preview here so you can see that it is melting. It's gotten very sticky, but most of it is melting right down nicely. So I'll just keep stirring it, and it won't take long, and it'll be back where it needs to be. So the other thing that I was going to just talk about a little bit was that this is a recipe from, I think, Taste of Home. And so I just Googled it and found it. It's a nice, easy one, and of course delicious. I mean, caramel candies on their own are just delicious. So once you add it to an apple, I mean, how can that be bad? And a little heavy cream. I mean, geez. So anyway, there's that. And like I was saying, you can dip it in all sorts of things, nuts, crushed up Oreos maybe, sprinkles, obviously, anything pretty much, you know, for your whole imagination. You use your imagination and come up with something delicious. Whatever your flavor tastes, you know, are. For me, I just prefer them plain. I love the combination of the caramel and the apple together. To me, that's just perfect. You know, like I said, you've got the tangy, like sourness or tartness of a Granny Smith, and then the really sweet caramel flavor. And I just love that combination of offsetting each other like that. So that's something I highly recommend. So I hope you'll try it. I'm going to give it a few more minutes here and let it completely melt. And I'll give it a few more stirs to get it all nice and smooth. And then we will move on to the dipping and then the eating. Okay, so I think we've got some really smooth caramel. I should just show that to you so you can see. We've got a good amount of caramelness in here, or, you know, meltiness. It's pretty smooth, looks pretty good. So I think I'm gonna start dipping them. So we'll see how that goes. After you dip them, you're gonna put them on a piece of parchment paper. That's probably the best thing. If you don't have parchment paper, you can always use wax paper. It might stick a little more, but not enough to make it a big deal. And then after that, you're gonna wanna refrigerate them or cool them down for 15, 20 minutes, something like that, so that you can, you know, make sure that it hardens, or it doesn't really harden, but firms right up so that it's ready to eat. So let's get to dipping. Okay, so we're getting ready to dip now. Took me a minute to get that set up because that's a whole new thing, but here we go. Let me show you. So we're going to take an apple. We've got our caramel here. It's all nice and hot and sticky. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip that apple down into there. Kind of swirl it around. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. And then I'm going to give it just a little more around the top because I like it completely covered in caramel. Then I'm just going to wipe off the bottom of it and then set it right down on the parchment paper. So we're going to continue doing that and just keep dipping. I'll dip it in, swirl it, pick it up, put a little around the top, just let it drizzle around it so that it coats the whole apple. Because like I said, I like caramel. And then you're gonna wipe off the bottom of it. Just kind of scrape it off a little because it's gonna drip down there anyway. You don't have to worry about not having enough down there. And we'll keep doing this. I know you can't see everything I'm doing, but that's the joys of doing this in your house. And of course, you know, nobody has a perfect setup unless you're a actual cooking show host, and that's not me yet. I think 6 apples is about going to do it. And I did end up using the full 2 packages of I think they're 11 ounces a piece. Those are the caramel ones. Now the lady who did this recipe, she suggested the Werther's caramels, the soft Werther's. I've never used those, and actually I did look for them, but we didn't have them right here in our local store. So that's no big deal. These are Kraft caramels, which are classic. Have been used for caramel apples for years successfully. So please don't worry about getting that specific brand. It's not going to be a big deal. little bit of caramel left. Might have to have some ice cream or something. So that is how you make caramel apples. Very simple recipe. Obviously, you can, there's other recipes out there where you can make your own caramel on your own. And there's plenty of recipes out there for that. But this is the most simple one and probably the easiest. And most people, if you're like me, don't have a lot of time in their lives to spend making caramel, unfortunately. But at Christmas time, that will be a different thing, because I'm hoping that I'll get to show you how to make caramel candies. And if you think the Kraft caramel candies or the Werther's caramel candies are good, you have never had homemade caramels. So I'm hoping to do that. Anyway, thanks for watching and thanks for listening, and I hope you try these out. Let me know if you do. Thanks. We'll see you soon. Bye.